Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayat Nastapraeshu Vavadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. We're reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 1, Text number 2. This chapter is entitled Questions by the Sages. Dharma projita kaitavo traparamo nirmatsaranam satam. Nobody? You don't know the verse? Dharma projita kaitavo traparamo nirmatsaranam satam. Vedyam vastavam atravastu shivadam tapatrayon mulanam. Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kimva Parereshwaraha Sadyo Hridaya Varudyate Takritibihi Sushushabhi Takshanat. Dharma, religiosity. Projita, completely rejected. Kaitava, covered by fruitive intention. Atra, herein. Parama, the highest. Nirmatsaranam, of the 100% pure in heart. Satam, devotees. Vedyam, understandable. Vastavam, factual. Atra, herein. Vastu, substance. Shivadam, well-being. Tapatraya, threefold miseries. Unmalanam, causing uprooting of. Srimat, beautiful. Bhagavate, the Bhagavat Purana. Mahamuni, the great sage Vyasadeva. Krite, having compiled. Kim, what is. Ta, the need. Parai, others. Ishwaraha, the Supreme Lord. Sadhya, at once. Riddhi, within the heart. Avarudyate, become compact. Atra, herein. Kritibi, by the pious men. Sushrushubi, by culture. Tat Shanat, without delay. Translation. completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated. This Bhagavad Purana propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. I'm not going to read all the purport today because we're going to talk on the same verse tomorrow. So I'll read part of the purport and we'll continue tomorrow. Religion includes four primary subjects, namely pious activities, economic development, satisfaction of the senses, and finally, liberation from material bondage. Irreligious life is a barbarous condition. Indeed, human life begins when religion begins. Eating, sleeping, fearing, and mating are the four principles of animal life. These are common both in animals and to human beings, but religion is the extra function of the human being. Without religion, human life is no better than animal life. Therefore, in human societies, there is some form of religion which aims at self-realization and which makes reference to man's eternal relationship with God. We'll comment on each paragraph as we go through the purport. So, these first three verses of Srimad Bhagavatam are like the prelude to the speaking of Srimad Bhagavatam. The actual Srimad Bhagavatam hasn't begun yet. This is just like an invocation or a prelude. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj describes that the invocation has the purpose of either giving benedictions or offering obeisances or describing the subject matter. So in the first verse, we saw Srila Vyasadeva offer obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now in the second verse, and then again in the third verse also, Srila Vyasadeva will continue to glorify the Srimad Bhagavatam and to describe the goal of the Srimad Bhagavatam. What you want to actually achieve from it. So Prabhupada begins his purport by discussing about religion, or we may say dharma. Dharma. There is religion in the material world, and there is also transcendental religion. So material religion is concerned with these four goals, four subjects. Right? We say dharma, artha, kam, and moksha. Or religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. This is what we would call the Chatur Vargas, the goals in human life. And you see in society how they have that nature. You can observe, for example, the first people to go to America. The US, when they sailed from Europe to America, they were pilgrims. And they'd been like sent out, go out, get out of here, go across the ocean there and find a new place for yourself. So the first settlers who came there to USA, not the natives, but the first settlers who came from Europe, they were very pious people. And they built churches. And they would begin, that's how they, and you look at European cities. In the center of a city in Europe, you'll see they have a cathedral or a church, some big cathedral. It's like the center of every town or city, or it used to be like that in the past. Of course, nowadays, not like that. But it was like that, and you do see some very nice structures of cathedrals and chapels and so on, for people to practice their religion. They encourage people to be religious. Of course, Prabhupada points out that's the difference between animal society and human society. The animals are eating and sleeping and making and defending. And if we are also only eating and sleeping and making and defending, then there's no difference between us and the animals. We are the Dvipada Pashu, two-legged animals, right? But the same thinking as the animal. Where is food? Where is sleep? Where is sex? Where is shelter? This is animal mentality. But human life is meant to be different from animal life. We have more facilities. With the facilities come responsibility. We see everywhere in government institutions, some high-placed officer is given more facilities, but he carries more responsibility. We have responsibility as human beings. The duty of human life is to inquire, to understand the purpose of our existence. And if we don't make proper use of this human life, then we are just animals. And next life we will become the animal. So that is degradation. We want to elevate ourselves, not degrade ourselves. And therefore religiosity is very important. Unfortunately, people just think that religion is meant for artha. They go to God to pray to God. Oh God, I'm very poor, give me money. Oh God, I'm very sick, please cure me. They simply make a business of praying to God with so many material motives. Just like we see in Christianity, they have the well-known prayer, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. But then they go on to say, give us our daily bread, right? So this is the thinking, that give us our bread, just let us eat. So long as we can eat, we're happy. This is the thinking of the animal, the dogs, the ants, the little insects everywhere. I don't know about your room, but my room is crawling in ants. So many ants everywhere. Try to get rid of them, they always come back. Ants, so many other creatures are there, and they're all thinking, where is food? That is their mentality. And human being thinks like that. There's no difference. But we're meant for having some religion. to take some religious practice. But religion is not meant just simply for food. Dharma, there is dharma, right? Dharma, the nature of something. Prabhupada describes the characteristics of dharma. He says, just like the dharma of sugar is sweet. If the sugar is not sweet, something's wrong. Or the dharma of a chili is hot. If you have a bite of chili and it's not hot, something's wrong. It's not the real chili, right? So the same way, dharma, the dharma of the living entity, the atma, the pure soul, we have also our dharma. And our nature is service. The nature of the soul is service, to do service. But our service becomes perverted. Instead of serving God, we become servant of dog. Instead of serving the real mission of human life, we simply lose the real purpose of the goal of human life. It's all lost. Why? In pursuit of sense gratification. The man is proud. He's thinking, my dog loves me. My dog is so attached to me. You know, this is the thinking. Ordinary conditioned souls. They want to have that loving relationship. And they make that loving relationship in the material world, centered around what Srimad Bhagavatam describes as fallible soldiers. Because none of these so-called friends and loving relationships which we cultivate in the material world, none of them can save us from death. But there is another kind of dharma, and that is the transcendental dharma, Bhagavat dharma, or Sanatan dharma, understanding the dharma, the nature, the characteristics of the soul, not just simply centered around the body. So here in this verse, Srila Vyasadeva is Dharma Projata Kaitava. He describes that there's Kaitava Dharma. Kaitava means cheating. Kaitava Dharma. Dharma Projata Prajita. Pra meaning complete, and Ujita, rejecting. So this Srimad Bhagavatam completely rejects all religion which are materially motivated. This is the basis of Srila Vyasadeva writing, compiling this Srimad Bhagavatam. That he does not focus at all on the material goals of life. Dharma, material religiosity, artha, economic development, kama, sense gratification, or mukti, liberation. These things are not interesting. They have no purpose, they have no meaning to the devotee of the Lord. So we should understand how we have to be qualified for the Srimad Bhagavatam. As we spoke yesterday, one should be in the mode of pure goodness to understand Srimad Bhagavatam. That is why the Gayatri Mantra was invoked in the first verse, to help us understand what is the actual qualification for entering into the study of the Srimad Bhagavatam. We have to come to that level of goodness. Then we can appreciate. Therefore, Srila Vyasadeva, he rejects all of this material religion. And we see also in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna has also explained. In the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has concluded, Sarva Dharma Parigyajna Mamikam Sharanam Braja. Lord Krishna has said, give up all dharma, all of this religion which is materially motivated. That is, in other words, Lord Krishna is saying the same thing. Give up all of these cheating religions. Cheating religion, that religion which is just centered around sense gratification, or economic development, or even the desire for liberation. These are all rejected. Krishna has already said in Bhagavad Gita, give them up, told Arjuna. Now here in Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Vyasadeva begins Srimad Bhagavatam in the same way. Reject all of these so-called religions, because that is not going to do us any good. It's not going to solve the problem of life. We'll read some more because we want to go through the purport. In the lower stages of human civilization, there's always competition to lord it over the material nature. Or in other words, there is a continuous rivalry to satisfy the senses. Driven by such consciousness, man turns to religion. He thus performs pious activities or religious functions in order to gain something material. But if such material gains are obtainable in other ways, then so-called religion is neglected. This is the situation in modern civilization. Man is thriving economically. So at present, he is not very interested in religion. Churches, mosques, or temples are now practically vacant. Men are more interested in factories, shops, and cinemas than in religious places which were erected by their forefathers. This practically proves that religion is performed for some economic gain. Economic gains are needed for sense gratification. Often, when one is baffled in the pursuit of sense gratification, he takes to salvation and tries to become one with the Supreme Lord. Consequently, all these states are simply different types of sense gratification. People take up religion for sense gratification. There is the gross sense gratification, satisfy the senses, give me money, let me enjoy. With money, then they can go, they can have more eating and sleeping and mating and defending. This is what they think, the goal of life for the materialist. They're thinking only like that. But there is also subtle sense gratification. And that subtle sense gratification comes among those who are frustrated and disgusted with the efforts of trying to enjoy the material world. And in order to escape from the shackles of this materialistic society, people sometimes, not very common, but sometimes they think about liberation, and they think about becoming one, entering into the oneness, giving up their individuality. They have that desire to give up their individuality and simply merge with the Supreme. Of course, this is impure intelligence. Srimad Bhagavatam describes this as avishuddha buddhaya, impure intelligence. Arora krichrena parampatam tata patanti addo nadreta yasmad angraya. Because their intelligence is not yet fully purified, they desire this oneness. And the result is that eventually they also fall back down again into material life. So you've got the gross materialists, they're in the cinemas, in the malls, in the shopping plazas, They're trying to find their sense gratification there. And you've got the Gyanis, the Vedantis. They're trying to escape from the wheel of birth and death, and they're looking to the oneness, their goal is to merge and to give up the individuality, enter into the oneness, become the part of the Brahman. They're thinking that is the ultimate goal. So that is subtle sense gratification. We have to understand what is actually the goal. Of course, sense gratification is there, but there is spiritual sense gratification. That has to be understood. First, you have to reject all the bogus philosophies. Srila Prabhupada continues, in the Vedas, the above-mentioned 4 activities, meaning dharma, artha, kama, moksha, are prescribed in the regulative way so that there will not be any undue competition for sense gratification. But Srimad Bhagavatam is transcendental to all these sense gratificatory activities. It is purely transcendental literature which can be understood only by the pure devotees of the Lord who are transcendental to competitive sense gratification. In the material world, there is keen competition between animal and animal, man and man, community and community, nation and nation. But the devotees of the Lord rise above such competition. They do not compete with the materialists because they are on the path back to Godhead, where life is eternal and blissful. Such transcendentalists are non-envious and pure in heart. In the material world, everyone is envious of everyone else, and therefore there is competition. But the transcendental devotees of the Lord are not only free from material envy, but are well-wishers to everyone, and they strive to establish a competitionless society with God in the center. The contemporary socialist conception of a competitionless society is artificial, because in the socialist state there is competition for the post of dictator. From the point of view of the Vedas, or from the point of view of common human activities, sense gratification is the basis of material life. There are 3 paths mentioned in the Vedas. One involves fruitive activities to gain promotion to better planets. Another involves worshipping different demigods for promotion to the planets of the demigods. And another involves realizing the absolute truth and his impersonal feature and becoming one with him. So, Srila Prabhupada is describing the nature of the material world, how there's so much competition everywhere. People all competing with each other. Why so much competition? One person's envious of another. All based on envy. Envy is the nature of the material world. Someone has something I don't have, we envy them. We see the classic envious person in Krishna Lila, Sishupal. Sishupal envied Krishna. And Sishupal was very rich, very powerful, but Krishna always had more. So he was always envious of Krishna. We are also, in the material world, we have that nature to be envious of another person. We have to overcome that envy. We have to remove that envy by understanding our spiritual nature. The envy is based on material distinctions, material desires. We have to understand what is the actual real need of the soul. When we look at material qualities, then yeah, somebody has more, we will think, why don't I have, why they have? Srila Prabhupada also refers to the socialist or the communist society, which, you know, they speak about being competition-less, no competition. But Prabhupada explains, it's bogus. There's so much competition, even in a communistic or a socialistic society. Someone is competing to be the dictator. Not only the dictator, there's competition from the lowest to the highest. Everyone is competing. Somebody wants to get a position, somebody wants to get recognition, somebody wants to make a name for themselves. It's there in the communist society, and it's, of course, it's very prominent in a capitalist society. So we have these two societies. You have the capitalist and the communist society, and they're both competing. One is competing with the other. Our society is better than your society. It's all based on envy. So Prabhupada explains that the real society is a God-centered society. When we put God in the center, just as it's described in the Ishopanishad, Isavashyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat tena chak tena bunjataha ma gridaha kashasiddhanam. Everything animate and inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should accept, therefore, only those things necessary for oneself. And one should not accept more than that, knowing well to whom it belongs. So this is the Ishavasya principle, that take your quota, take as much as is necessary for yourself. Don't take more. We see human nature displayed that Prabhupada gives the example, if there's a bag of rice in the street, a bird will come and take a few grains. He will take whatever he can eat and fly away. But a human being will come, you want to take the whole bag for himself. We have that mentality, greed. We never have enough. I need more. I don't have enough. But the nature of the mode of goodness is that we should be satisfied with whatever is provided by the grace of God. Don't take more, knowing well to whom it belongs. Who does it belong to? Everything belongs to God. It's His property. We have a right to take as much as we need, but we have to learn to minimize our needs. Everyone's thinking to maximize their needs. I don't have enough. I don't have enough. I need one house in the city. I need another house in the countryside. And I need another house in the Holy Dham also. Right? You have to have so many houses. I need a motorbike, and I need a car, and I need a bicycle, and this one car is a family car. I want a sports car which can go high speed. You know, like this, there's no end to what we think we need. But we say, there's enough for everyone's need. There's not enough for our greed. The problem is greed. There's enough for what our basic needs require, but not enough for our greed. So we have to learn to overcome this greed, which is the cause of this envy. And we must learn to control the mind and senses and be satisfied in our situation. This is, of course, the Brahminical nature. We should cultivate these Brahminical qualities to situate ourselves in the mode of goodness. and be happy. So, unfortunately, people are very materialistic and they compete with each other. Of course, modern society encourages competition, because if there's competition, people will work harder, and they make promises to people, just work a bit harder. Very soon you're going to get everything you want. Very soon. Just keep working harder and harder. It's like, you know, when you want the donkey to go forward, you hang a carrot in front of it, and the donkey goes forward, but the carrot always goes forward, because you're holding the carrot on a stick in front of the donkey. So the donkey sees the carrot, and he goes forward to get the carrot, but the carrot also goes forward. So our materialistic society is like that. That all the goals of the materialistic society, all the wealth and all the economic development and the sense gratification, it's all being promised to you by all the big statesmen and the big leaders. They're telling you, just work harder, very soon you're going to get it. But you never quite get there. It's always just a little bit far away. This is the nature of materialistic life. So the Vedas prescribe, Prabhupada explains that the Vedas are there to guide us, to regulate our activities of sense gratification. It's not wrong to want sense gratification. Prabhupada gives the example. He said, sense gratification is like salt. You put too much salt, it's no good. And if there's no salt, it's also no good. There must be just the right amount of salt. So sense gratification is also like salt. It's a very delicate commodity. Too much is not good. No sense gratification, very dangerous. You must have the right amount. And the Vedas prescribe how to regulate our material desires. So Prabhupada describes how in the Vedas different paths are there. There is some people worshipping the different demigods. They were doing the puja to the different demigods, and in this way satisfying their material desires. And some people worshipping the impersonal, the Brahman, because some people are desiring moksha. They don't want sense gratification, but they're thinking about moksha. So therefore the Vedas also describe how you can get that. How to merge, how to enter into this oneness. They describe the impersonal philosophy. That's things like the Mandukya Upanishads and like that. They glorify the Brahman. And even Adwaita Acharya was reading, he was reading some scripture which glorified impersonal liberation. And Lord Chaitanya, when Lord Chaitanya heard, Lord Chaitanya got very angry. He came over there and he beat Adwaita Acharya. That, what is this? You called me to come here and now you're preaching the glories of the impersonal Brahman? So there are Vedic literatures describing these things. And for people who want sense gratification, the Vedas also describe how to have sense gratification in a regulated manner, not unregulated, not without discrimination, but very carefully controlled sense gratification. Just like people want to eat meat, okay? You want to eat meat, the Vedas describe what you have to do to eat meat. You have to take a goat and you go before the goddess Kali, but only on the dark moon night. Dark moon night means once in a month. You go before the goddess Kali on the dark moon night once in a month, and you can offer the goat. You can slaughter the goat to Goddess Kali. But when you're slaughtering the goat, you have to tell the goat that I am very much eager to eat your flesh, but in the future you can eat my flesh. That is the Vedic injunction. You want to eat meat, you sacrifice a goat before the Goddess Kali, and you tell the goat in the future, you can also eat meat in the future. So sense gratification. You want to have sense gratification, it's there, but with regulation, with prescription. Just like people want to make money, do business. So there's business, how to do business, trading, agriculture, cow protection. In the times of Lord Krishna 5,000 years ago, Nanda Maharaj had a big herd of cows, 9 lakh cows. There was no scarcity. There was so much yogurt, so much butter, so much cheese, so much curd, so much milk. That's the real wealth. Where is the wealth today? You go to a factory. What do people do today to get money? They go to the factory. They work in hell, in hellish conditions, just to get money. And the result is, when you go to the villages, you find there's no young people anymore in the villages. They want to plant rice, they want to harvest. There's no people around. All the people have gone to the factories. This is the situation in the modern society. People have all gone off to work in the factories. There are no people to work the land, to grow the food. And we're complaining, oh, the food is becoming so expensive. And the food is also of less and less quality because they use more and more chemicals and insecticides, so many things, artificial methods. You have genetically modified crops. Everything is so polluted in the Kali Yuga, and they call it progress. Where are we progressing to? That is the question. We're simply progressing to hell. We're not progressing in a positive manner. It's degrading society. We want to understand the nature of this so-called society. We can see how much the planet has benefited in the past few months. Just in the few months that we've had the lockdown, how the Yamuna River has been restored, how it's become nice, pure, clean water now, flowing without so much fumes and garbage, how the air is better, where there's less traffic, so much better air. Because the factories are closed. What did the factories do for us? We simply produce so many luxury items, so-called luxury items. Air conditioners, refrigerators, computers, so many things, mobile phones, all of these things just to bewilder us and cause us to forget the real goal of life. Human life, very valuable, very special. We must use it very carefully. So the Vedas were there to direct people. But who is following the Vedas today? Their only interest, nobody practices religion. Prabhupada said the churches are empty. So many countries in America, when we wanted a temple, we could buy a church because the churches were all closed, nobody coming. Toronto, we have a big church. Los Angeles temple was a church. Dallas temple was a church. So many different places. I think even the New York temple, that before that was a synagogue. mean, so many places we get their buildings because no people coming. Why? They're all busy working. They're all in the hotels, they're in the bars, they're all trying to enjoy material life. Nobody's interested in Dharma and nobody's thinking about moksha. Everybody just wants artha and kama. Economic development to get sense gratification, an unlimited sense gratification. Coming in the form of alcohol is not enough. Now there's drugs. So many drugs everywhere. Even in India, a big problem. Young people, young students taking drugs. Why? Sense gratification. We're thinking, this is enjoyment. So we have to be guided by scriptures. We have to understand what is the real goal of life. The Vedas direct us in the proper manner if we follow scripture. But who cares nowadays? People, they don't even know scriptures. They never heard, no education. People are not taught. They're only taught how to use computers, how to use mobile phones. You have any problem with your mobile phone, you want to do it, just ask some little kid. They all know. They learn. Teacher taught them at school. They know everything. They learned it all at school. That's what they learn. They don't learn what they should be learning. They don't learn what the real goal of life is. So, Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Vyasadeva said this Bhagavad Purana rejects all of this Kaitava Dharma, all of this cheating religion. You know, people go before the deity and they're telling the deity, I love you, I love you, I love you, Krishna. But we're thinking, where's the money? What kind of love is that? You want that kind of love? If the wife said, I love you, but she's thinking, where's the money? Better get a divorce, huh? It's not real love. We don't know what is love in the material world. We have to learn from Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, any questions? Any comments? Yes, Maharaji? Do we have a microphone? I'm sorry, I'm not hearing you. It's not. Maybe let him give you the mic. Or is it sense gratification to desire to build a temple for Radha Madhava? Yes, if there's desire for Krishna, then there's no reaction. Yeah. Well, this is discussed in Prabhupada's books. He said, when there's sufficient funds, if there's enough funds, if there's enough money around to build a big temple, then there's no harm. That's proper use of wealth, to use it to build a big temple. But if there's no money and you're trying to build a big temple, then that's madness. Can you tell me what she's saying? Are we committing any offenses by desiring to build the temple? No. I hope not. We're desiring to serve Krishna, we're desiring to expand the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Is that an offense? No. Huh? It's a prediction. Yeah, it's predicted in the scriptures that there would be a big temple. So we definitely want to fulfill Lord Chaitanya's prediction. I'm sure Jananivas Prabhu would agree, right? That's the verse from the scripture where Lord Chaitanya predicted that there would be a big temple here in Mayapur. So, you know, with this current situation, the temple may be delayed, but we still hope that it will, in the future, not too distant future, that we'll see the opening of the temple. Yeah, we want to use money, use wealth in the proper way. The point is, if the money is not used to build a big temple, what is it used for? It will be used for sense gratification. So it's actually a very positive way of serving Krishna, by collecting funds and taking away people's extra wealth and using it for the service of Krishna. Because wherever there's too much wealth, then there will be too much sense gratification. People will become sinful, they become degraded. So we have to show people, we have to save people from that temptation. They get too much money, they buy more cars, they buy more houses, they go for more holidays. Let them use it to build a big temple for Krishna. So that's very nice. Prabhu? Krishna says, Sarva Dharma Parigyasna Mamik. So what does Krishna mean? Does Krishna mean to give up other religions? Krishna means to give up all religions which are materially motivated. In other words, these cheating religions, which are based on, or we would may say pretentious religions, where we're making a show of religion, but we're thinking just to get money, or just to get some wealth, just to get some benediction, some material benefit from our religion. So we should, that's what Krishna means to give up, that kind of religion. Sense gratification, and even subtle sense gratification, the desire to merge, to become one, the desire for liberation, that is also sense gratification in the subtle sense, and that should also be given up. And so that's what Krishna means to give up, these four kinds of goals. Yes, Prabhu? Are you hearing? Oh, the Bhagavatam is understandable by those who are pure at heart. What is the question? How to understand this? Because we're not fully pure in our heart. So how can we understand Bhagavatam? Yes? The Srimad Bhagavatam, by hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam itself, will purify our heart. By hearing, just like the example was given, You chant the Gayatri mantra. Now to chant the Gayatri mantra, you should be in the mode of goodness. Similarly, to understand this Srimad Bhagavatam, we have to cultivate the mode of goodness. And then, by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, then we can go on to become pure at heart. Oh, Srila Prabhupada gave us his purports to guide us to understand the Srimad Bhagavatam. Without the purports, without the Vaishnava purports, then we could never understand Srimad Bhagavatam. So right, because we're not pure at heart, because we're not nirmat saranam satam, we're not 100% pure at heart, but guided by Srila Prabhupada's purports, we can understand more, and we will get more purification, and get more instruction. We can go on to become pure at heart. Simply by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, we can become pure at heart. Yeah? Yes? When Ajamila chanted the holy name of Lord Narayan, he didn't accept any parampara. He wasn't initiated, and he didn't accept any guru or anything. But so how did he get liberation? Well, this is described in the Srimad Bhagavatam that he got freed from his sinful reactions. Then after getting freed from his sinful reactions, then he understood his situation, and he immediately left home and he went to Hardwar and he took shelter of a Vishnu temple. And then we're told that in the Vishnu temple there, he made further progress. So we hope that in the Vishnu temple, he had the opportunity to contact some devotee or some. But anyway, eventually he gave up his body on the bank of the Ganga, went back to God. He was a special case. You remember, he was born in a Brahmana family. So he had a birth in a Brahmana family. So he had some connection there to spiritual culture. And to chant the holy name is also said that you don't have to be initiated to chant the holy name. But in order to properly progress, you need to be initiated. Because we don't just chant the holy name. We're not able to imitate Haridas Thakur. Ajamil he just happened to say the name of his son, and he was fortunate that at the time when the Yamadutas came, then he called for his son, and the Srimad Bhagavatam said, at that time he remembered Lord Narayan. So that saved him. We may not remember Lord Narayan. It's a risk. You take a great risk. So if you're connected to a sampradaya and initiated, then you're more secure, safer. We don't just only chant the holy name, we also study the Shastra, we worship deities, like that. Okay? Any other question? Okay. Yes, Prabhu, question? So Prabhu is saying he's hearing the Bhagavatam regularly, but still he hasn't get it. You're not able to fully realize everything from the Bhagavatam. And you're not able to apply what is being taught in the Bhagavatam, despite hearing it. So should he continue hearing it? Definitely. You must continue hearing it. Just like in chanting the holy name. Because of the disease of jaundice, we're not able to appreciate the nectar of the holy name. So should we give up chanting the holy name? Of course not. We have to chant the holy name more. So in the same way, you're hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, you have to hear it more. You have to absorb your mind more in this Srimad Bhagavatam. And gradually, that disease in the heart will be removed. Yeah. It takes time. It's an ongoing process. Our heart is like stone. So just a stone can be rubbed away by water, but it takes some time. So the same way, it takes some time for us to purify the heart. But don't give up. Continue. More and more. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam. Just Prabhu, you have a question? How to overcome envy? We can overcome envy by understanding that it is due to our material consciousness. We need to hear that this envy is due to our material consciousness because we're in the bodily concept of life. Therefore, we envy some other person. We have to learn to change the consciousness, to elevate the consciousness to the transcendental platform. So hearing scriptures will help us. Envy is the diseased condition of life. But we can develop our appreciation for other people. Don't envy them, but if you see someone has something, you should think, oh, I'm lucky I don't have that. Instead of envying that, oh, I wish I had that, we can think, I'm lucky I don't have that. If I had it, I'd become proud, I'd become a fool, I'd be so arrogant. And so we can learn to think in a positive manner, to see everything as the arrangement of Krishna, that whatever I have is given to me by the grace of Krishna. Krishna knows what I deserve, Krishna knows what I'm qualified for. He's put me into this situation. I should just accept Krishna's plan and surrender to Krishna. And in this way gradually can give up envy, understanding everything is Krishna's property. It's not our property, it's not their property. Everything belongs to Krishna. So Krishna gives some people something. He didn't give it to me. Okay, I'm not qualified. Just let me be a servant of Krishna. Whatever Krishna wants me to do, whatever situation Krishna puts me in, let me accept it and just go on chanting Hare Krishna and being his servant. Okay? Hare Krishna, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Premanande.